ladies, and men. Y'all be gaslit by narcissists too. Welcome back to part 3. We have now had part 1, part 2, and it has been all the tea. Literally. All right, so welcome back to our part 3 of narcissist divorce versus a normal partner divorce. I'm just kidding. It's a healthy partner divorce, right? And see, okay, now in this segment, we are going to do myth versus facts, right? With our expert sitting here, family law attorney, family law divorce attorney, Janet Ward, honey. So we are going to use some of her expertise to debunk some of the common, misconceptions about the myth versus the facts here in this series. So let's go. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Narcissists always lose in court.
That is very false. They actually win a good bit, which is scary when you think of it. But think about it. By the time they get to court, they've worn down their victim.
Yeah.
Okay. They may have mentally crippled them.
They could wear down the judges too.
Right. And the judge is also meeting their representative.
That's true.
The judge is meeting the person that we met.
That's true.
When we first fell for them.
Yeah, that's true.
And sometimes judges believe them. And that's why it's important to have your evidence together.
Yeah.
Because they're going to lie.
And whatever behavior that they displayed throughout the divorce process, right?
Expect that and worse.
Yeah.
Expect the worst.
Yeah,
Expect everything. Expect all the lies. And come prepared.
Just have your stuff together.
Yes.
Okay, you need a diagnosis to prove narcissism in court.
To prove it, I would say yes. Okay. But even though you cannot prove it unless you have a diagnosis, and most of them are not going to therapy, so you probably won't have that.
And they're not going to see a psychologist.
They're not, right?
So nothing's wrong with them.
Exactly. So you're not going to have one most likely. So you won't be able to prove that, but you can prove other things. You can look at their behavior and their patterns, and hopefully you have evidence to support those things. So you can show the type of person that they are, even though you can't actually put the label on it.
So how about the truth always comes out in court?
That is not true. That is not true. First of all, to get truth out, you have to overcome objections and all those things, right?
Yeah.
And people who don't have attorneys, sometimes they don't know how to respond to the objections. So sometimes no truth comes out. Sometimes the judges just don't want to be bothered with all your evidence and all your talking, and they want it to go quickly.
One thing that my friend told me that I didn't know about is that these judges typically are handling criminal cases. So a divorce case coming in, and it's so, when you think somebody's life is dangling, at the hands of this judge, they're not looking at your divorce proceedings or your divorce. Something that is like high impact, even though our kids are dangling at the hands of the judge.
In our county and a lot of counties, that is the case. There are counties where you have family courts, the whole states, like, where you have family courts and all of that. But our judges, they're doing criminal cases on Monday, and on Tuesday they might have squeezed you guys in, for some family law cases, and they just put a murderer away, in prison for life. They don't care that your ex yelled at you 2 weeks ago. Honestly, they don't care that much.
Okay, what about mediation works for everyone?
It doesn't.
I will say this: my mediator came back and she had her head in her hands. And me and my attorney was like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "I have never."
Never.
I said, "Ma'am, you probably never will again."
Listen, mine was a joke.
Yeah.
Because again, I didn't get any documents. So and I don't know where this man works at this time. Yeah, he's left the whole state.
Yeah.
So I don't know where he's working. I don't know where he bangs. Like, I don't have access to anything. So I don't know what exists out there. So I'm like, what are we negotiating? Like,
I turned my mediation
we have nothing.
to a strategy. So when I realized that I wasn't getting any financials, I was like, okay, well, I need child support. I need to take care of our daughter. She had tuition that had to be paid. So I used that. Yeah. So, okay, you want visitation? Let's talk about visitation. Let's talk about child support, because I'm not negotiating any assets when you have not told me your business.
Right. So. And see, because I had an emergency hearing in my case, we already had a parenting plan in place. We already had child support in place.
Oh, nice.
So those things were already resolved in the beginning of my case.
Okay.
So there was nothing we could have resolved except on the final level, but with no evidence, I'm not resolving anything.
So do you feel like that's a good step to take to, like, get child support and custody out open in the front of your divorce?
If you could, like, if you could have a, so most courts, so I'll tell you for at least Henry County, before you can even have a temporary hearing, you have to go through mediation. So that's not a possibility, right?
Yeah.
You can have an emergency hearing. Most judges don't grant them. You have to actually prove that there's an emergency. Now, in my case, he kidnapped the kids. So we had an emergency, so we got a hearing. And I wasn't even in Henry County at the time, but because, we had a legit emergency as far as the court was concerned, I could have that done that early in my case, but that's not very common.
So a diagnosis isn't required. Behavior patterns matter more.
Yeah. I would agree with that. That's what I was saying earlier. So you focus on the behaviors.
Yeah.
Because,
that is the evidence. You have to have evidence, though. It can't be just because they like to do things in your face. They like to do things over a phone call. They're not going to put a lot of this stuff. Well, mine did. I don't know. I think he just felt like he was above the law. Mine felt like he was just so above the law. But most narcissists, they're going to hide a lot of what they're doing. So they're going to tell you in your face. They're going to tell you over the phone. So, Okay, everyone. So this concludes our series. And we really hope that y'all benefited from this. Narcissist divorce versus a healthy partner divorce. And again, we had to break this out into 3 different segments, and y'all see why. I hope it was helpful. I really do.
Yeah.
Did we touch on any points that either you guys have used or you will use, or something that you found in your research? If so, comment down below.
Let us know.
Yeah, please let us know, because we want to make sure that we're giving out some good, helpful information. But then also, where's our community at? Where's our community of women who either are going through the divorce or have been through the divorce with a narcissist? Because listen, life be life, and when you're divorcing a narcissist.
Well, guys, this has been Her Terms Next. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully you got to see all 3 parts. If you haven't, you can go back and watch part 1 and part 2 if you're just tuning in right now. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Her Terms Next, and follow along so you can see what we're bringing to you next.
And if you have any suggestions, make sure you email hertermsnext@gmail.com.
And that is Her Terms Next.
If y'all know the first episode, you'll see that. hertermsnext@gmail.com. So y'all, we can't wait till the 3rd episode. And we don't. Yeah, we do. We just don't know which one it's gonna be. We got to give the tea and the juicy topics. So yes. All right. Till next time.
Cheers. Bye.